What is up? Okay, basics of how to draw an eye. Hopefully, I remember. Basic idea is making sure that you understand the anatomy, because all of that is definitely going to help you through drawing an eye. Right now, I'm drawing the eye socket from a skull. And then in the center of it would definitely be a circle, because that's where our eyeball would be. Hey, what's up, Karen? Hopefully it's not too high. Hopefully you're able to see what I'm doing. But yeah, the basic thing is that's what's up. Hey, Will, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I saw your Instagram. Is that your child? That new baby, Will? So cute. So yeah, then you kind of carved in. That's what I do. Start to carve in, knowing there's like an eye. And again, when you look at the circles and you're looking at the form and you're looking at all these things, this is where kind of the master, the grandmasters before us. Yes, 8 weeks old. That's your baby. Congratulations, you made a cutie. But yes, so what, right from there, what you want to do is you want to start to slowly form and draw things that you know, and also mixing in with what you see. What's up, Rokes? And again, so the basic thing here is if you look at Rembrandt, his whole thing is if you can render a sphere or a cube properly with one light source, it will be you are capable of rendering anything. So again, it's the same concept here. Yeah, and yeah, so I'm just gonna show you how I do the do, and hopefully you guys can follow along. If you guys can't, that's cool. This will still be up for a time being, and then that's it. So I know right in here it's gonna be dark, and at the bottom here we know that there is a tear duct, and again, following that circle, that's the idea. He is always drawing you, Rokes. Yeah, I love it. I love how Will now understands how Rogues wants to take all glory, but and how she always thinks everything is her. Uh, but it's okay. It's fine. So again, I'm just kind of slowly drawing it in. As you can see, I'm sketching it. I'm not putting hard marks or anything to that extent. You're just slowly working at it. And yeah, so from there, I do know right here, as you can see, there's a gesture. That's a gesture. That's a map for me to know that there is the bottom of the eyeball, right? Bottom of the eyeball. And still kind of keeping form. And 9 times out of 10, you want to blend it out. That's fine. You can blend it out. Usually some people will do it where they kind of cover this whole thing black, and then they work the opposite way, meaning they use a kneadable eraser or an eraser to remove and start to highlight. I'm kind of doing it how I just kind of feel. Most of the times, I just kind of start with gestural marks and then just slowly work my way around. But sometimes I do that as well. I will kind of like shade this whole thing dark and then go from there. Um, yeah, I don't know if people. No, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just gonna leave it because I'll probably draw another eye down here. So yeah, so keeping those fundamentals rules, like I said, fundamental rules of knowing how to shade from the master Rembrandt. That's why you practice spheres. That's why you practice rendering spheres and all that. And then as you can see, gestures and structure and all that. And as you can see, it all started with the shape of the skull. So again, rendering and drawing what I know and what I see a little different. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Yes, this is a charcoal pen, right? It's from General Pencil. It was purchased at La Walmart. And this is one thing I learned in painting, right where the eye kind of meet is like the whitest white. It's like right here, boop, boop. There's always a reflection right there. So, yeah, it just so happens to be there, and that's that. And then again, I'm just gonna draw on the pupil because I know it'll be right there, and just shade it in, and we can just slowly work it in. And the idea always is to work light when you're drawing, because you can always, you don't want to draw. Most people, when I see when they start drawing, they like draw hard. They're like, ha, 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 that's where it is. And my analogy has always been like you're playing darts. All right. So each line is a dart. So the question you need to ask yourself is, if I told you to throw one dart at a bullseye, what are your chances? Have you had soft, medium, or hard? But I think it's a right. This is definitely hard. This is a hard charcoal. It's not willow charcoal. It's definitely a hard charcoal. So again, back to my analogy, I always tell people, so you want to throw as many lines as possible, symbolizing you want to throw as many darts as possible. Now, if you're a dart player, right, so you can definitely probably nail that line, right? So same kind of concept. If you're a professional artist, you've been drawing for years and years and years and years and years, you can probably nail that line that you're looking at. But for most people who are just beginning and starting, what you want to know is that it's just like darts, all right? Just like darts, you want to say basketball, any other sport, the basic concept is what are your chances of getting a hole in one, a strike, all that kind of stuff, but you're throwing it from a distance that you're guessing. All right, so hopefully that analogy helps people. And if that doesn't help, let me know what sport you like or what else you kind of do, and I can always find a certain analogy to that. So for those who are wondering, my name is Colin Chan. You have joined the Colin Chan Show, and yeah, I'm just kind of sketching an eye and showing people this is how I sketch an eye, and this is how I guess you can sort of say I was taught, um, but it was pure trial and error, and also learning from my mentor who taught me the fundamentals of art. And then, yeah, so again, just in case to reiterate for those who just came in now, what are the fundamentals of art? That's when you're putting knowledge from masters such as like Rembrandt, and you're doing things like practicing rendering a sphere, rendering a box, and having one light source. So that's why people always say, why do artists paint still life? Well, the reason why we paint still life is because they're objects, right? So if you look at them, they're all cubes, squares, and spheres, right? Oranges, all that. Just got to break it down. Bing, bada boom, and you're good to go. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them off in the comments if you're watching this not live. If you're watching this live, feel free to ask your questions here. I don't see anybody saying anything. I'm assuming everyone is understanding what's going on, and we're just going to continue to keep moving forward. So if people are wondering, how do I draw an eye? You could go back to this live broadcast and share it if you want, if it makes any sense. And the number one thing you want to take away from this right now is look how slow I'm working this eye. All right? I'm not rushing it. I'm not doing anything too crazy, because I want people to know that this is just a steady. I'm not doing the Mona Lisa. I'm not painting the Sistine Chapel. I'm not painting or drawing the what do you call that? The Last Supper. And we're just gonna keep on going. Gotta turn that off. Sorry for that interruption. But yeah, so I'm just gonna continue working at this. What do you suggest drawing to learn most? In what sense? Like, what is your ultimate goal? That is what I'm going to try to say to you. So, for instance, there's different ways of approach. And in order for me to truly know, you're going to have to ask, I'm going to have to ask you questions, and you're going to have to answer. So, for instance, like, what's one of your favorite pastimes, in a sense? Is it sports? I'm going to pull back just a little bit. Hopefully this doesn't get too crazy. Oh, sorry. That was a little crazy there. Crazy. Gonna tilt it up. Sorry. Alright, hopefully this is okay. Hopefully this doesn't fall. Yeah, so there's certain things like, are you trying to be, so what I mean by that is, if you like sports, right? What kind of sports do you like? If you like makeup, right? What part of makeup do you like? So it then turns into, well, what are you trying to learn with art? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to take the craft, take the skills, and how do you adapt it? Because I'm always going to look at art and never see it as one facet. I'm always going to see it as a multifaceted when it comes to life. All right. So what I mean by that is, I just don't look at drawing and painting as drawing and painting. All right. I see drawing and painting, and I see endless opportunities. I can see it being used to day to life. I can see it being, a good parent. It could be good for parenting. All of the above. I want to be able to do portraits like a photo. Okay, so if you're going to be doing portraits of a photo, the number one thing you definitely need to learn is 100%. You need to start to learn human anatomy. You need to look at and purchase books that show you how to break down human anatomy and also learn about the anatomy. So, for instance, like I just showed you, how this all fits in perfectly is like here's a skull, and you have to start to draw those things. What my mentor told me to do, and I can tell you this 100%, is I stood in front of a skull, a skeleton, um, a reference, I guess you would say. It's a full skeleton reference, and it was inside of a box, and it was for school, and I must have drawn that skull probably over 300 times. And the way he made me do it was at first he would say, draw it not as a skull, but draw it in cube form. So what I mean by that is geometrical shapes such as just a box. So everything has to be boxes. So I drew like probably like 200, 300 boxes of it. And then after that was done, he's like, okay, that's a box. Awesome, right? Now put the skull inside those boxes. So I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. But I had a reference, right? So what not only was I drawing what I saw, but I'm also drawing what I know. So the boxes was drawing what I know instead of what I see, right? So my thing for you is you need to start to observe and start to pay attention to anatomy. If you want to just do portrait work, then you should study the skull really, really well. So every time people always tell me, "Oh, there's Chan. He's drawing a skull again." I'm always doing that because I'm refreshing my mind from making sure the knowledge that I have I can still keep, still transfer, still do all those kind of things. Like I said, look at Rembrandt. Rembrandt said the same thing. Rembrandt is also, if you look at his portrait work, is also phenomenal. So what I would recommend you as well is to practice drawing and shading cubes. So you take an orange, get a light just like this, right? If you had an orange, and if you held it against the light right here, I done a skull the other day, funny enough. Yeah, but you have to do the skull like 10,000 times in all angles, not just the front, quarter view, three-quarter view, side view, top corner, bottom corner. You have to turn that skull in a 360 way so that you literally know how everything goes. And that's just the start. Well, that's just the start. And yeah, so when you look at Rembrandt, you do still lifes. That's another thing that's going to help you render because you can. I don't find it cheating. Back in the day, I used to find it cheating. People always ask me, "Oh, how do you feel when people, copy from a photo? Trace from a photo?" I'm like, "That's cool. Like, if you have the knowledge, right? This is the thing that I learned, and it goes for tattoo artists. If tracing was truly cheating, I'm dropping pure knowledge. If tracing is truly cheating, right? How come there are only a handful of tattoo artists who could draw the same portraits, but there's always going to be one that's way better and more realistic than the other? Can anyone answer that question? Anyone? I'm just looking at Will. I'm pointing at Will. I'm pointing at Will. Answer. Let me see if anyone, even Rogues, anyone has the answer to that. Let me know. Let me know. And even for you in the comments, people who are watching the after show, the non-live, answer that question. If tracing was so easy and anyone can do it, how come tattoo artists who do portraits, some of them look way more realistic than others? And if anyone can answer that, there is a right and wrong answer to it. So feel free to drop it in the comments. Feel free to comment inside here, and I will let you know the truth, the truths. One thing I don't like about texture papers, you can see how I'm going really dark, but you see like there's a texture behind it, which is fine. It's all right. It's okay. You just gotta slowly work at it. Slowly find your darkest dark. And I will be giving the answer once I give the people a chance to give their comments. I'm not going to give the answer right away. I'm going to allow people to think about it and then come back and say, well, I think it's because of this. And if I miss any of your comments, that's it. It's about skill of transferring image. No, incorrect. Nope, not correct. Sorry, Will. Good try. C plus for effort. Rokes, would you like to give it a try? I guess of trace lines. No, it's not the guessing of the trace lines. Fine mark. My mark is an F. No, yours is the same as well. It's like a C. It's like a C plus. You guys both got a C. And since there's only two of you guys in here, I will give you the answer. It's because the one that is more skill knows more anatomy and more of what's under the surface than what's on top of the surface. So what people don't realize is when they're tracing, you're tracing a flat image. Only those who are skilled in a sense of what I just said to you, what you see me doing in a sense of knowing where the light source is coming in and how it naturally is going to fall off the sphere and the cube. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why there's better tattoo artists that can render or people that can trace better than others. Because they're not just tracing what they see, they're tracing what they know. And that right there makes a whole difference. And that's ultimately the truth of the answer to that. So if you think it's really easy and you can trace faces all day long, it may look super real to your eyes, but you give it to someone that's skilled, they're gonna look at it and be like, well, check this out. This is flat, this is flat, this is flat, because naturally, if this is a circle and the light is hitting from here, this would cast here. Oh, well, the photo doesn't have that shadow. Right. You're supposed to be able, that's where the artistry comes into. That's where your skill comes into. That's where we're going to use another profession. That's where when you look at an electrician or a plumber, they look at things that we see day to day and they say, hey, you know what? This is not done right because the last person did this, this, and this. Yeah, it's thanks for the knowledge, Colin. Not a problem. Just remember that it's not cheating. You can practice cheating all you want, and that's why people. That's why you look at the best artists, the master artists that do master art, and master artists who do super hyper realistic photos, and they all say the same thing. You need to practice the anatomy. You need to practice the anatomy. You need to practice going to still life. I mean, that's still. You need to practice going to life drawing. You need to go to life drawing classes. You need to go sit in front of a model and draw them from life. And that's what I did in school. I did 7 intense years of like drawing naked people. That's the best way to explain it. 7 years, just nonstop drawing, naked people, from real life, drawing naked people. And then that's why, as me as an artist, when it comes to the human anatomy, people tend to look at it sexually. I don't. I see it as forms, objects, and all those kind of things. Yeah. Yeah, well, I would definitely tell you to do that. Go, there's always an artist community. You can definitely go and live draw, and you can go and meet some artists and draw naked people. That's ultimately it. Like you also can draw your child that's a newborn. They're awesome to draw because when they're sleeping, they're literally not moving. So I would sit there and I would sketch and I would sketch and sketch and sketch and sketch and sketch. And then I would take an anatomy book and then see how far your anatomy to to the child's anatomy, you know? So what you see and what you're doing, right? So those are little tips for the people out there who wanna get better at their art. And yeah, so like if you're trying, so if you were to tell me like, oh, I want to be able to draw like buildings and all that kind of stuff, then I would tell you you need to then learn about um, what was that thing called? What do we call in school? Technical. You need to know how to draw technical or technical illustration learning. So you would have to learn kind of like um, horizon lines, focal points, and all of that. And that also helps people who, like myself, is a filmmaker. And people say, even though I'm a filmmaker, it's really funny because I have photographers saying, "Hey, you know, you got an eye for this," and it's funny because of what I'm doing right here. What they learn in school is, you know, the camera, the equipment, and then they teach them a little bit of the perspectives and the fundamentals of perspective. And I had to learn all that and do it with my hands and my eyes, and I had to study over and over again how to draw horizon lines, how to look at a picture and be like, okay, this is where the focus is, and this is where the vanishing points are, and I had to draw this in. And how did all that happen? I had to draw everything in 3D, which kind of sucked, but it was good. It was really bad. Like I had to draw. I hated that class too. I had to draw like milk crates and all this kind of stuff with no rulers, and it had to be. And my professor was like, "I want perfect straight lines," and he used to call it if you had the God's eye. That's what he would say. And what he meant by that is if you had the God's eye, you're able to draw lines up and down, diagonal in all ways, keeping it very, very still. No one except for a classmate, my one of my friends, he was the only one who he was questioning. He was like, "How'd you do that?" And then he made him do it in front of class, and my friend did it. And he was like, okay. He's like, you have sort of the God's eye. And he goes, but it's good. And it was great. It was definitely awesome. And when you learn, there's like a fundamental way of how to draw a cube, you know, and circles, and how to make perfect circles without a ruler. It's intense. That's all I have to say. It's intense. But yeah, right, so that's an eye. I don't know why I'm just rendering it like crazy, but you know, this is where the dark would be. And yeah, and then I would just render it out. That's a 22-minute broadcast. I think I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna draw another eye. I lied to you guys because I feel with these lives I want to go longer, but honestly, with just two people in here, I doubt people are gonna sit through this in real time. So if there are people who sit through this in real time, who actually somehow stumble onto my video and be like, oh, cool, this guy did a charcoal drawing of of an eye. Dope. Let me see what this kid's about. But yeah, so definitely can go in further with this, but that's the basis. This would probably be, is this finally done? No, this would probably be at a level 50%. This is like the 50% mark. So just to let people know, this is where I would consider 50% is here. It's not fully done, but you can see how I started and how slowly I can shape and mold the eye. And yeah, so as you can see, I'm just kind of like trying to find a gray tone and just kind of blend it out. And then right here, because I don't want it too white. And then yeah, so all right, ladies and gents, that's the eye for today. Thank you for joining me. Every day 4 p.m. I'm gonna try my best to stay positive and stay on here and whatnot, but it's definitely getting tough. We're on to the 14th broadcast. Will 14, that's 14 live broadcasts, and still no growth yet. But I believe in Will and Rogues, and hopefully sooner or later we're gonna break that algorithm. All right, guys, that's my 25 minutes.